Core TV News Live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. And Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then News. Core TV News, a 24-hour news station.
Thanks for joining us again on Cool Digest Tuesday as we turn our attention again to issues as we count down to the 2015 general elections. The big question is how much promises have been fulfilled by our politicians over our 15 years of democratic rule in Nigeria. I still have here with me Chief Martins Anovo, one-time presidential aspirant, candidate rather, under the platform of the Action Alliance. I believe that was in 2011, Chief.
Yes.
Thank you for staying the course of the show. But let me just start by taking your own informed opinion as regards the drama that we saw last week Thursday at the National Assembly complex. There are school of thoughts divided in between the action of these honorable members of the House scaling the fence. If you were in their shoes, what exactly would you have done?
Well, a few things need to be clear. I am not going to tolerate you locking me out of my house. If you lock me out of my house, I'll break it. It's my house, it's not your house. You shouldn't be there in the first place. Now, if there is need for extra security measures in the National Assembly, the National Assembly has a security unit. You coordinate it. There is nowhere in the world you go and lock out an incumbent speaker. There's nowhere you lock an incumbent speaker out of the National Assembly, which is his office. There's nowhere. You
heard people Daramola earlier talking about the possibility of plan of impeaching the speaker.
Yeah, even if you had that plan, especially in the dysfunctional environment where we are, because the media talks this democracy, and the media complicates a simple problem. What do I mean? We had this situation in Edo State where 8 people tried to impeach 13. We had that situation.
Okay.
And we were not alarmed. We should have been alarmed if we knew the meaning of democracy. But we're not alarmed because our people have become numb. We have seen so much impunity that there is nothing that surprises us anymore. Now, before that, you had even the worst situation in Rivers State where 6 people tried to impeach 20-something. And you say it's a democracy. And the media keeps calling this a democracy. 3 years ago, we called it a criminocracy. But the media didn't agree it was a criminocracy. They keep saying it's a democracy. What kind of a democracy, in what kind of a democracy does 8 people impeach 13? 6 people impeach 20-something?
But are you saying that the peculiarity of the system we operate as now...
It is not peculiarity, it is dysfunctionality.
Okay, whatever it is you call it, does it now...
In a democracy, it's the majority that prevails. It's the majority that prevails, not the minority.
Are you saying that has now impacted on the decorum that we should have seen play out from members of
Did you see what has just happened in Ekiti? You see, we keep doing the wrong thing in the country and expecting the right answers. And unfortunately for us, we keep getting the wrong answers, which we will keep getting as long as we do the wrong things. Now, if we had stopped it in Rivers, it would not have happened in Edo. It would not have happened in Ekiti. But we tolerated it in Rivers. Now it happened in Edo. It happened in Ekiti. And it's happening all over the place. Now, with that kind of a situation, I won't be surprised if 5 people in National Assembly say they have impeached Speaker Tambuwa out of 360. What's the difference? So, the whole thing we built on an illegitimate and corrupt rulership. And now it has turned to an idiotic dictatorship. Because it's idiocy, if not insanity, to say that in a democracy, 6 people in a democracy overwhelm 20-something people. Don't forget the National Governors Forum. So it has become the standard in Nigeria that the minority will always have its way over a majority.
Okay.
The Governors Forum, 35 governors voted. 16 voted for governor of Plateau. 19 voted for Amechi? Who won the election? Amechi. Who did the commander-in-chief host? The man who lost. What is the meaning of that?
It's all right. Now, there are issues on how do we
can't continue like this.
How do we bridge the gap, the growing gap between the leadership and the people? Because now we're talking about a 15 years of democracy where all we have are uncompleted projects, unfulfilled promises. In certain communities, for instance, there are obvious distance, obvious gap between those that are being led and those that have been given the mandate to rule.
You see, back to do the right things if you want the right answers. Let me tell you, if the present rulers of Nigeria across the levels were selected by the people, which is what the Constitution says, they will be loyal to the people. They will respect the wishes of the people. But because they know that they impose themselves on the people, that is why you see that democratic values cannot be entrenched. Going back to, if you want to get the right results, you do the right things.
Okay.
If you want to entrench democratic values, you must use democratic standards. And that means that if you go to a governor's forum and there's an election for a chairman and 19 people voted for one candidate A, or Amechi, and 16 voted for another, Amechi is the winner. 19 is greater than 16. Are we going to teach our children that 16 is greater than 19? Where will this idiocy stop? This is national idiocy. And the media, who is the watchdog, who is the intellectual bastion, is not condemning this thing. Instead, we are using it for sensationalism.
But the question at this time would be, what role exactly would the people play? We were discussing yesterday as regards it's campaign period now, and then you see political jingles, politicians coming out to tell the people what their own plans are for the next democratic year. But we have not seen the people come together to identify those things that they need and ask these politicians to explain how they intend to meet their demands.
The people have done that severally, and they have done it in multiple fora. I'm aware that the NLC has a clear position.
Okay.
The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria has a clear position. The Movement for Fundamental Change has a clear published position. So the people have done that severally. But the reality is that the voice of the people has no weight. The voice of the people has no weight because it is not a democracy.
Why is it so?
Because it is not a democracy, it's a perversion. It is because 16 is greater than 19. It is because 5 is greater than 26. It is because 8 is greater than 13.
Are you saying that the Nigerian people are helpless and
No, I'm not saying they're helpless. I'm saying this is why their voice is not strong. Because the voice of the majority is being suppressed by a minority. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that's why it's not strong. Now, the people are not helpless, clearly. But the people have not gotten to the point where they have decided to do the otherwise. And that is why earlier in the program, this program, I mentioned that the National Assembly should have impeached the president a long time ago. Because the violation of a law by a political ruler is an indication of lawlessness.
Wouldn't that amount to heating up the polity? What impeachable
what is the meaning of heating up the polity?
Mr. President committed?
No, exactly. That's where I was going. Thank you very much. Because when you say heating up the polity has been heated up by impunity, by corruption, by rigging, by illegitimacy. That's what is heating up the policy. Doing what is right does not heat up the policy. Doing what is wrong heats up the policy. Now, very important, lawlessness. Let us start with the refusal to declare the assets by the commander-in-chief, which is a constitutional requirement. I think that's 5th schedule, part 1. Now, that's number 1. Number 2, the Nigerian constitution says you cannot spend public funds without appropriation. In 2011, we spent about 2 trillion naira. Over 40% of the annual budget value. We spent it without appropriation. There was no consequence. Laws that are not enforced do not exist. If a law is not enforced, that law does not exist. If you apply that in this case, that means Nigeria has no constitution. Because the constitution is not being enforced. If the constitution says you can't spend public funds without appropriation, and the constitution and the country makes a budget, annual budget, of around 4.7 trillion, and then the rulers are able to spend 2 trillion in 1 year without appropriation, what is the meaning of the constitution? What other definition of lawlessness do you want? Because we keep putting pancake on this rot. These are not just stable. We keep finding niceties to cover these devious iniquities.
Over the years, we've had watchdog agencies in the names of ICPC, AFCC, and all of that. But yet, many would say corruption still remains the bane of all the challenges that we have in this part of the world. How then can the electorate, or the people, so to speak, bring leadership into accountability? Just before you answer that, let's take this call from John. Good morning, John.
Hello?
Good morning, John.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, please, I just want to commend the man that is speaking over there. I know somebody that fears God. The problem of this country is about leadership, as they have been saying. And most of our leaders, they don't fear God. They don't even consider masses of this country for anything again. They do not consider the masses. Everybody is just thinking of how to enrich themselves with the government. All the resources of the country, they are going to share it. See what is happening and see people again. People are not thinking that tomorrow anything can happen to them or their children, their children. They don't want to even believe that God is existing. If you ask the majority of our politicians, you don't even believe that there is God. Some of them believe that all what they are doing, they can just do it and go away with it. But we know that whenever anyone there is record for it, either good or bad. Today we are talking of Zeke, we are talking of Awolowo. There are some of our children that is not even see these people face to face. But the record is on ground. Anything anybody did, there is always a record for it. If I see myself, we don't have power to do everything today. But in the future, their children will still suffer for it. Their children will suffer for it. This is only my contribution. I still connect the man.
It's all right, John. I believe you made your point there. Thank you for calling all the way from Kaduna. How do people make the leaders accountable at this time?
The very first thing, when the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous do? The foundation is that the people are supposed to install the leaders through their votes. Once you take away that, that is the power of the people. Power belongs to the people, is that the people dictate who leads them, dictate the policies. So the real government in the proper concept of democracy is led by the people.
And you think that the elections we've had in the past have not reflected the true
Oh,
intention?
clearly. Oh, most clearly. There are two pillars of democracy. The rule of law, which is what I was talking about, lawlessness, which is the opposite. The rule of law and the integrity of the ballot. Now, let me just give you a simple example that will clarify this. You know that if you're 16 in Nigeria or 17, you cannot vote legally. If you vote, it's illegal. So how did we decide that? It's what the law says. You have to comply with the laws. Otherwise, why should a 4-year-old not vote? But it's because the law says it. Therefore, the law must be respected. It's only in a jungle that laws do not apply. In human societies, laws apply. Now, the highest law in Nigeria is the Constitution. If we do not comply with the Constitution, what are we going to comply with?
Do you see a change in 2015 as regards the credibility of our electoral process?
I do not see an easy change ever in Nigeria. Easy change. I see change. I do not see an easy change. Compaoré was president in Burkina Faso. He's now a fugitive. He was president for 27 years. He lasted to the point where he made his chief security officer the chief of defense staff. That is real power.
Okay.
His chief security officer became chief of defense staff. But the people threw him out.
Are you in any way suggesting a violent change in Nigeria, Chief?
Was the change in Burkina Faso, was it violent? Did they kill anyone? To the best of my knowledge, they didn't kill anyone. We stopped third term in Nigeria, it wasn't violent. We removed Speaker Ete in Nigeria, it wasn't violent. We sent the military back to the barracks, it wasn't violent.
Professor Atahiru Jega says that we're going to have one of the most credible elections in 2015. Do you believe him?
I don't believe him. And I don't think you should believe him.
Why?
How do you make judgments? Judgments are based on previous performance. What is so difficult about giving PVCs to people who have temporary voters card? That's what he cannot do. What is so difficult? I have a temporary voters card. Exchange it for a PVC. Is that a challenge? Now, the election of 2011, where he promised angels will conduct it. How did it go? It is that same charade that threw up these impostors in power today. Because for the first time, pre-election, INEC had over 200 cases in court, violating people's rights and taking sides with the ruling party. Jega was a member of the OYS commission, Electoral Reform Committee. That Electoral Reform Committee recommended with Jega's signature that the appointment of the INEC chairman should be removed from the commander-in-chief, who is a partisan politician, because he belongs to a political party.
But don't forget that for the first time we're having a fingerprint-based registration.
What is the meaning of fingerprint?
Do you see that changing?
What is the meaning of fingerprint? Any system works with integrity.
It's all right.
Whether you have fingerprint or not, if there's no integrity, it won't work.
We have to wrap up this.
The key thing is integrity.
What exactly would you ask the electorate to do differently
Very
in
simple.
2015?
Very simple. First, we must register to vote if we have not. If we have, we must persevere to get our permanent voters card. If they don't give us, we must complain loud enough to compel them to give us. When they give us, we must use it. We must go out, do accreditation, vote, stay there, and wait till the results are declared. Copy the results in our own polling station. Organize ourselves and return results so that if INEC returns the wrong thing, we will counter it.
It's all right.
And that is what happened in Senegal.
Chief Martin Zonovo was presidential candidate in 2011 under the platform of the Action Alliance. Now, I asked you the other time you were around if you're running again for 2015. Have you decided now?
Well, for me, I have the intention to run, but I don't take decision. The parties decide.
One would have thought that if your party is going to decide, they should have decided by now.
No party has decided by now. You don't know the political timetable.
Okay.
Which party has decided?
Oh, come on.
No party has decided.
They said there are pretenders and there are contenders.
No party has decided.
The contenders know themselves by now.
Contenders. They don't know themselves outside their own political parties.
Okay.
It is the political parties that decide. But you have to aspire within your party.
But you're saying
when your party chooses you, you become the candidate of your party. Until then, there's no candidate.
You're confirming that you have intentions?
Oh, definitely. But I will aspire. I am a Democrat. You want me to become a tyrant? That's the problem. You're pushing me to become a tyrant to impose myself.
You are waiting on your party to decide.
Let the people choose me. I have the intention. If I am chosen, I will run. If I'm not chosen, I will accept it. That's the difference.
Chief Martins, thank you very much for joining us today. Oh, God, we'll take a commercial break now, I believe. And when we return, we'll take this conversation to yet another level. Stick around. It's Core Digest Tuesday. Don't go away.
Core TV News, expanding your view.
In February 2015, Nigerians will vote for their next president. So we asked one simple question. What do Nigerians need?
A vibrant economy.
Make business better.
A safer environment for my family.
Better school for my children. Strong leadership. Unity.
This is a beautiful country. We're enterprising, optimistic, and we are also resilient. There are many issues that affect us all, but I believe together we can resolve them and overcome them.
Schools are often inaccessible, ill-equipped, or simply not conducive learning environments. Without education, our children cannot achieve their potential.
No nation can rise above the level of educated people. Education is not a luxury, but it's a must for everybody, for every human being.
My classroom is the Nigeria of tomorrow.
Poverty is the enemy of progress. Nigeria must create opportunity for its people to thrive.
I want to work to provide for my family.
Nigeria has to empower the private sector to continue to play its role as the biggest and largest job creator. Small scale, medium scale, large scale entrepreneurs must be encouraged.
Safety and security are concerns for all Nigerians.
I want my child to grow up in a safe Nigeria.
The primary responsibility of any government, and as enshrined in our constitution, is to protect the lives and property of individuals. It is only with security that the inhabitants of this country will be able to unleash all their potentials in terms of development, in terms of enterprise. So it is essential that government pays attention.
What do Nigerians need?
A leader that understands the importance of education.
Atiku Abubakar is the founder of a chain of schools that provide quality education of a standard comparable to any country in the world.
Someone that understands the economy.
Someone to create an enabling environment for jobs.
Atiku Abubakar understands business. In fact, he's one of the largest private employers in Adamawa and Rivers states.
A leader that can unite the nation, north, south, east, and west.
Atiku Abubakar transcends tribalism and religious sentiment.
A leader with experience.
Atiku Abubakar spent 20 years in the public service, served for 8 years as Vice President of Nigeria, and was Chairman of the National Economic Council. He's qualified to lead our nation to a brighter tomorrow.
This is one of the greatest countries in Africa and in the world. This country is blessed. With the right kind of administration, this country can be transformed. So it is my desire to give back to this country all that is within my power to do. I am Atiku Abubakar. Together we can build a Nigeria for all.
Welcome back. It's Cool Digest Tuesday, and you know where to put all of your advertorials, especially at this very important time in the political history of Nigeria. If you want Nigeria to hear about you, then the numbers are scrolling right on the screen for you to call in. Now, we promised you in-depth review, news, views, and analyses before, during, and after the 2015 general elections, and we also promised you quite a number of education in that light. We've had questions, a lot of complaints as regards the continuous voters registration has been conducted by INEC, as well as the distribution of the permanent voter cards across the 36 states of Nigeria. And we're joined this morning now by the resident electoral commissioner of Cross River State, Mike Igini. Good morning, and thank you for finding time to join us.
Good morning.
Well, let's start from the scratch. We don't have time. I would have showed you pictures and sounds of highly agitated Nigerians who went all out irrespective of their economic demands. They created time to actually go get their PVC. How would you explain the irregularities, so to speak, that marred that exercise?
Well, thank you very much. I want to start by appreciating Nigerians in the entire country, you know, and various states where we have commenced the process of distribution of PVC and the CVR that have actually came out in large numbers and have expressed a great deal of enthusiasm to be part of a process where every 4 years we are supposed to renew leadership and to renew the policies that we have run in the last 4 years.
Okay.
For in our democracy, election is a period where truly people can have an opportunity to make that renewal. And that is why you recall that in the 2011 elections, we promised Nigerians that the electoral process will be taken to the next level. And part of taking the process to the next level, particularly with the desires of Nigerians to have their biometrics to be used, the Commission commenced the process shortly after the 2011 elections of cleaning up the register. Now, because of the commitment to the principle of one person, one vote, we ran the AFIS process. That is, the figures we collected in 2011. In what I demonstrate in this format, as at 2011, we collected data about 73.5 million.
Okay.
After that process, and because we're going to use the card reader for the 2015 election, which means when you come to the polling unit on election day, this is your PVC. With this PVC, once it is swiped, your picture will show every data, your name, your age, your address, and your biometric will show. With this, we will now request you, which is going to be the third time we are going to test your thumbprint. You put your thumbprint on the card reader, one in each polling unit, not transferable. All right? Once you put your thumbprint in, it will have to acknowledge that indeed the person who photo we are seeing here, who has this data, is the right person before us. After that, you are now qualified to be given a ballot paper. Now, this process will require a very painstaking effort. Through what we call the post, going through the 3 stages here. Now, at the post-office stage, what we have done here is that if you register more than once, maybe 2, 3, or 4 times, at this stage, the system will detect. For example, if Mr. Ojo has registered 5 times, at the level of the AFIS, all the areas where you have registered, it will bring all of them together. So we will now give you only one registration that will nullify others.
Now, even on election day.
No. I'm talking about the running of the process, the build up towards the ownership of what do you call it, being a holder of a permanent voter's card. That's the process I'm trying to explain so that Nigeria can understand the background to the PVC distribution. Now, at the level of what you call the post-business rule, once this is the stage where all eligible Nigerians who have their names, their photo, image, as well as the required minimum threshold of thumbprints are complete. At this stage, you are entitled to a permanent voter's card. The idea is that all those who have this card now, you should register once in a lifetime. Now, when we were through with this exercise, we started the process with Ekiti elections, where they used the first PVC. All right? As well as Osun elections. Now, these 2 states, they have collected PVC. Now, with respect to the other 24 states, as I speak to you, a total of 24 states prior to the takeoff of this 3rd phase have completed that exercise. Now, And again, contrary to the information out there, wrongly, that collection of permanent voters card is only 3 days. It is not correct. Okay. The first phase commenced in May this year. All right? Now, for 12 states, since May up to on the 15th to 17th of August, down to today, INEC offices in the 24 states, including the recent states that are now part of the third phase, okay, our offices are open to Nigerians to collect their permanent voters card. Now the rush of 3 days, you know, the idea of 3 days was to formally launch the exercise. And that's why we deliberately have to do it what they call in staggered form, so that when we had the first state, the first set of states, we already put on notice the second number of states, and the entire nation generally, that this is what is going on, to draw more attention. Apart from the fact that prior to the takeoff in May, INEC, as part of publicity effort, has set up, recognizing the fact that the publicity for election anywhere in the world with respect to perhaps collection of PVC or CVR is a multi-stakeholders responsibility. So we set up at the national level the National Interagency Committee on Voters Education and Publicity, replicated at the state level and the local government. These were steps taken. Okay. Now, in the course of the exercise, of course, you have a few challenges, which, of course, in the course of the program, if we have the time, I would need to explain a few of those things for Nigerians to understand.
M. Cyril, if you can help me find out some silent themes of the CVR and PVC collection in some of our old reports, we appreciate if that can roll as we talk. And we'll also love to open the phone lines for interested Nigerians to ask the resident electoral commissioner here with me certain questions. You talked about a process of collecting PVCs. This is the first question that comes to mind is, how informed were Nigerians about this process? Because, for instance, now, we've been doing quite a lot of unsolicited jobs here for INEC. I know several times when we have put calls across to the rec here in Lagos, we know several times we have called him to come on the show, trying to help you in your work of informing Nigerians. Because I don't know if you are aware, many Nigerians did not know until recently. So wouldn't you say that INEC failed in that aspect of informing the public as regards their operations?
Democracy can only be sustained and will be at best in serving the people if and when, as Lyndon Johnson put it in 1966 when he was signing into law the American Information Act, being into law, that is only when the people have the information that they required. Now, all elections all over the world, its success is a reflection of the commitment of key stakeholders. Among the stakeholders are, apart from INEC, you have the political party in terms of engaging the people, giving the people the right information. You have the political parties, you have the media, which is the fourth realm of the estates.
I see.
And the credo of the media is the people's right to know. So we thank you and other stations, both print and electronic media, for all that you have also been doing to complement, to support INEC in this all-inclusive collective effort to sustain democracy in Nigeria. With respect to what we have done, perhaps we need to do more. I acknowledge that. I told you that as a build-up to draw attention to this all-important exercise of collection of PVC and commencement of the CVR, continual voter registration exercise, we have set up the National Interagency Committee on Voters Education and Publicity at the national level, made up of the following bodies: the NUJ, the News Agency of Nigeria, National Orientation Agency, Federal Ministry of Information, and other faith organizations. That's at the national level, to draw attention to do the publicity for this exercise. We did that since started that since May. That framework was also replicated and established in 36 states of the Federation, known as the State Interagency Advisory Committee on Voters Education and Publicity. And of course, at the local government level, you also have what you call the local government leak verb at the local government level.
Let me hold it for a minute
Gentlemen,
to take this
these are efforts that we have made to draw attention to this exercise. Beyond the fact that it was actually
from Anambra.
Put in faces.
Good morning, Tochukwu.
I want to make a contribution. I want to say that I think the INEC man over there has made a valid point, and it is clear from his analysis that INEC has done a lot. For once in this country, we should appreciate the work of a diligent institution. You see, the problem we have in this country is distrust. We have trust.
I'm afraid we lost that. Tochukwu might just call us back. But let us bring all of this down to what the people out there can understand. What is the situation now for someone who missed out on the continuous voters registration? Was that the end of the road for such individual?
Now, because we are going towards 2015, and our commitment to ensure that we have a free, fair, credible, and more importantly, acceptable election in some wavering has been the reason why we have continuously put on the radar of the Nigerian people, particularly the political parties who are described as the essential organ of the democratic process, to also give that information to the people, to the electorate. Because on election day, nobody will say that you can canvass vote for Core TV. Nobody's going to cast vote for INEC. These votes are to be cast for political parties and their candidates. So it is expected in other jurisdictions that once the umpire has put out a program, it's expected that the political parties should do that. In this wise, we have announced to people, in fact, as a matter of fact, the one we are doing now, we started since it will have commenced since September last year. Simply put, if you are a Nigerian and you register as of 2011,
okay,
all you simply have to do in those states is to come forward. As I speak to you, collection of PVC is still ongoing.
We're going to get there. What I asked
is... The question you are asking is, what is somebody who has
not registered at all?
Now, now, because they are in phases,
okay,
in Cross River states, because we have had our own time and also had extension,
okay,
you will not have opportunity in 24 states at the moment. The only place where you can register are the states that are in the third phase.
Okay.
Otherwise, you cannot register again.
Let me just hold you for another moment. We have another caller from Miss Solo. Good morning, Monday. This is Tuesday, however.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead with your contribution.
Hello?
Monday, go ahead, oh. We're with you. Are you there? I'm afraid we lost that. Please call us again. And when you do, turn down the volume of your TV set. There's a little delay from what we say here and what you hear from your StarTimes device. The moment your call is acknowledged, please go ahead with your contribution. Now, you were talking about the possibility of having those who have not registered at all at this particular time to register. Please go ahead.
Yes, the point I was making was that because we segmented the exercise in phases,
okay,
we had the first phase that was between May till June, and that was in 12 states. The process of collection of PVC started in those states and it stayed continuous. Okay. But for registration, it has closed in those first 12 states. Now, the second 12 states that constitute the second phase, That is why you have Cross River State and other states.
Okay.
We have also concluded the process of continuous voter registration exercise. What is left, which is still ongoing till the first week of February, is collection of your permanent voter's card.
So for someone who has not registered before, there's no opportunity for that person.
Absolutely, because that opportunity had been given in Cross River State or in those 24 states.
Okay.
Apart from the first official days that were given, usually 6 days, we also had extension. You see, there must be an end to some, because the timetable that we publish to the Nigerian people pursuant to Section 76, Section 132, Section 116 of the Constitution of the Fatherland is a timetable of commitment that outline all the activities on the part of INEC, on the part of political parties. So gradually we are winding down. Do you know that as I speak to you today, we have just 1 month plus for the election? November, technically speaking, in election management, you don't count it anymore.
Okay.
February, which is the first, we are having election on the 14th, is out. You basically left with 1 month. Within this same month, you have Xmas and other festivity. So we are winding down gradually, because 2015, to be able to use the card reader to bring about the integrity of the electoral process, what we need to do is to ensure that, in line with the requirement of the law, by on the 13th of January, INEC will have to publish to the entire world the register of the 36 states of the Federation, including the Federal Capital Territory, that will be used for the 2015 election. So it means that 15th of January, we are going to publish the final register. So which means that the exercise of CVR can only take place in the last 12 states that is ongoing.
Let's try to make
Lagos State,
this.
for instance, they've started with 11 local governments. They have 9 left. As on the 28th this week, they are going to commence the process of collection of their PVC. Then immediately continue with the
I want us to make this as concise as possible.
But one point I need to make as quickly as possible is that if you go to the office, INEC offices, and you don't have your TVC, that is your old temporary voter's card, and once your name is on the electronic voter register, you can collect your card, because the collection of this PVC is not in prosy, because we are for the second time taking your biometric again.
They talked about collecting a form in case you have.
Yes, assuming for instance you have lost your TVC, you will fill what they call incident form, to showing that truly you lost your TVC, and you'll be given your
we have a lot of questions to touch, and we have a very limited time to do that. But were you also aware that there are cases of people who had more than one PVC at the collection point? There were PVCs with the same names. We've had individuals who said they eventually had about 2 or 3 PVCs printed for them.
Good. Now in production, you have incident of that nature, where, for instance, one person, Mr. Ojo Idewu, having the same number, the same biometrics and all that, in the course of production, they have 1, 2, or 3. What is normally done is to give that person only one. Don't forget that these millions of cards, when they were produced by the vendor, when they are taken to Abuja have to do sorting out again. When they are taken to the state, we also have to sort out. So yes, there are incidents like that. There are cases where, for instance, your name is on the electronic voter register, but there's no card, for you. We also give you a form to fill, showing that your name is on the EVR, but no card has been printed for you. All of those ones, there's a form, specified forms that you print for all of those kind of situations that have been envisaged, and that is not a problem at all, because at any given point in time, You can see this is a form you fill.
Okay.
All right. These are the various forms. These are the incident form that you can fill. Then, as to the question, how come the total number of registered in state A, B, C, and so on and so forth, as at 2011, it has reduced now, like in Lagos, for instance, where about 1 point something out or something like that. First, I must correct this impression. In the 36 states of the Federation, in our effort to bring about a regime of credibility in the electoral process, we are not going to take incomplete data in our data bank, particularly what we are going to feed into the card reader. What are no states in Nigeria have not lost, no, not losing now, do not have that incident. What happened is that at the level of the office, you can find people here with their name, no photo image. We have asked that take 10 fingerprints. As we speak, the 10 fingerprints of so many people were not correct.
Okay.
We have reduced the threshold from 10 to 2. Now, if you look at, by way of observation, we are where we are because of the fact that we do not want to follow the rule of law, the rules that have been prescribed for the electoral process in our country. Otherwise, Nigeria started with just this type of card that will not cost the nation anything. When Nigerians started abusing this with the level of sophistication, we moved to this particular use of card.
It's all right.
From that, we have come to the PVC right now of a more higher security features at the moment, all to curb irregularity.
We're rounding up
so
these.
These are genuine effort being made, and when we are embarking on something of this nature, not for something that is temporary, I mean, it's expected that there will be challenges.
Okay.
What we need to do, as we continue to do, is to appeal to Nigerians on the fact that this is the direction we are headed, and that there are bound to be these challenges, because all over the world, the success of an election does not connote the absence of a few challenges.
We'll round up the segment now, but if you're still going to be in Lagos tomorrow, I don't know if you can still join us again tomorrow, because this is a very, very interesting issue and Nigerians would want to ask you more questions. But if I understand you clearly, you're saying that if I have registered in 2011, that I can still approach INEC in my local government for my PVC. But the question that comes up often now is what happens to people who have relocated from their location of registration?
By virtue of Section 13 of the Electoral Act, there's a window for intra-transfer and interstate transfer.
Okay.
For instance, you are being in Ikeja, but right now you are moved to Victoria Island. That is a case of intrastate transfer.
I see.
What you need to do is to attach your PVC collected, and you make an application to the office. That will be done such that
in your new
place of domicile.
Okay.
No, you write an application.
Okay.
Put in your new address. Attach your PVC.
Okay.
Take it to INEC office. INEC will now print another PVC for you. You know, showing your new place of domicile where you can vote. Now, with regard to interstate, you were in Lagos before, or you have been in Calabar, but now you want to relocate to Lagos. Or you're already in Lagos. All you need to do, if you have collected your card already in Cross River State, all right, or you are yet to collect, go to Cross River State, collect your PVC, make an application to the office of the Commissioner of INEC here in Lagos, or the fact that you are now domiciled in Lagos, stating your address. Once that is done, that application will be forwarded.
So you don't have to return to
you don't
the
have to
former
register
place
anymore.
But now let us get it clearly now. If you have relocated from a state to the other, your application will be in your new state, not in the former state.
No. But you should have collected, but then you must collect your PVC from your former place of residence.
Mike Igini, I'm afraid that we run out of time now and we have to let you go. I'm hoping that you'll be able to join us again tomorrow on this show.
Let's see how the program goes.
All right, let's see how it goes, but we'd love to have you again tomorrow on Call That Is. Thank you very much for your time. Well, the good news is that if you registered before in 2011, hope is alive. INEC has office in all the 774 local governments in Nigeria, and you can approach this local government till when exactly?
I am saying the collection of permanent voters card is ongoing.
Till when?
Till January.
Till January.
So up to the first week of February.
All hope is not lost yet.
But registration will end with the last phase of
this exercise. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll take a short break now, and when we come back, we'll take discussions to another level on Core Digest Tuesday. Don't go away.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on Core TV News.